Man, we're waiting on you. Can you come say something profound since you were very confident? There's a chair right here. There we go.
Nobody was born in the wrong body.
Hey, we respect you for coming up. However you're comfortable. Okay, maybe we can start on a new note, yeah?
Sure.
Okay, my name is Eliezer, and you are?
Chase.
Chase, nice to meet you. Okay, so my sign says transitioning kids is grooming. You disagree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can start, resume based on where we were earlier, which is you were asking me, I called you trans, and you asked me what makes someone trans. Can you answer that question for me?
What made me trans?
Right, but then I said I was joking.
Me trans.
I said I was there's no such thing. So here's my claim. There's no such thing as transgenderism. It's just a belief system that is based on a lie.
Sure, but by that logic, if it's a belief system, then I don't believe I'm trans, therefore making me not trans.
No, I know, but I'll grant that, yeah. I was joking, it was a joke.
Sure.
But, okay, let's resume the second part, though. What makes someone trans?
Whoever decides to be trans.
I know, but we know what humans are, we know what a tree is, a dog. There's, a certain features that people exhibit that lets us know what someone is, right?
Sure.
So what is the necessary criteria that someone has to meet to be trans?
Because they want to be.
But what is transness?
Deciding you're the other gender.
Other gender?
Yeah.
And then by gender, can we find common ground? Gender usually means sex.
No, I disagree. There's been a distinction between sex and gender recently, and just kind of in social norms. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what is the difference between gender and sex?
There's no such thing as all gender. What the fuck is all?
Sex is the biology for XX and XY, and then gender is kind of the social construct that has come from it.
Okay, so do you see how sex itself is still a reference point for gender?
Sure.
You can't have gender without sex.
Sure, yeah.
So do we agree so far that sex is binary?
Not really. Or sex, sorry, yes.
Sex, yeah.
Yes.
So there's male and female?
Well, technically, I was also talking to one of your friends over the whole thing of over intersex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was talking to him and I asked him, well, what do you want intersex people to be? What default gender should they be?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, before I answer, do you think intersex is a third category?
I suppose, yeah.
Okay, so can I ask you, and then I'll answer, do you know what makes sex sex? What makes it binary? It's not the chromosomes.
What do you think?
It's the gamete type that you produce.
Yeah.
So there's chromosomal changes. In regards to the umbrella of intersex people, there's over 40 medical conditions that fall under that umbrella. Chromosomal changes, secondary traits, primary traits. But biologically, they're always going to default to producing or having a body organized around a specific gamete type, male or female, sperm or ova.
Sure.
So intersex people, when they have chromosomal changes, the way they find out if they're male or female is based on the gamete type that they are either producing or their body is ordered around producing. So even if they're infertile or menopause or whatever the case is, they still go down a specific pathway, meaning sex is binary, and then gender is still obviously the reference point for gender is sex.
Okay.
So we've established sex is binary?
Sure.
Okay. Unless you have a third gamete type that I haven't heard of, it's just male and female, sperm and ova.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So now, when people take on this idea, okay, because we all have belief systems, right? Let's say I'm a Christian. I have a belief system, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe in Christianity?
To be honest, I don't know. I grew up agnostic, I think that's what it's called. But both of my parents grew up. My mom grew up Mormon. My dad grew up Catholic, and they both just went away from it. So I don't really know much about it. I believe that there is a God, but I don't know which one.
Yeah, you're not rejecting the idea of a God, though?
No.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So, because what I tell people is when people say you have to affirm my pronouns, they say I have to tell them something that is false to make them feel good.
Using a person's preferred pronouns is just a matter of respect.
Right, respect, but you wouldn't say that we have to force, there's institutions and jobs employments, they now force you to affirm someone's gender or pronouns.
I mean,
do you agree with that?
If you're a public employee, then sure.
Sure what? Sure, we should force people to affirm pronouns?
Yeah, I mean, and
why?
It's just a smart choice as well. It's for teachers to have teachers do that because it's just gonna increase in absences if kids are feeling disrespected, and so it's just smart to have that as a policy.
Okay, real quick, because if we don't disagree on this, then we can keep on this conversation. But do you agree that kids have the mental capacity to consent to puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones to transition?
That's a very iffy thing. There are people that.
This ain't your campus. This ain't your campus, goofball.
I done got to your brain, my boy.
We run this campus now, Brody.
There are people that believe that they're transgender and then change their minds later on.
Right.
And there are people that believe they're transgender and stay transgender for the entirety of their life. And so it's difficult to argue one way or another.
Just a simple one. Like, do you think that kids generally have the mental capacity to consent to these things that are life-altering? Their genitalia, their upper surgery, bottom surgery?
That's just like not happening, though.
No, I didn't ask you if it happens. Do you support it?
It's just not happening.
So let me show you something, okay? There's something that's called a prescriptor and a descriptor, okay?
Okay.
I'm asking you as a prescription, ought we? You're going to the descriptor, it's not happening. Let's grant it, it's not happening. Do you think it should be able to happen?
It probably not.
Okay, and why is that?
Well, because of the amount of people that think that they're trans at a certain time and then later on decide to detransition. But then at the same time, you can also argue that what makes it as soon as they're 18, they absolutely forever will stay transgender once they can have those surgeries.
Right. So do you think, let's go into the surgeries thing, right? Like whether it's kids or adults, do you think that surgeries make someone the opposite gender?
I mean, yeah.
So would you say they're necessary? Like they're necessary to be trans?
They're not necessary, no.
Prove it. Prove it.
So if that's not necessary, then it's just all optional.
Sure.
So
With their own bodily autonomy, they have a right to their own body, so therefore they have the right to those surgeries as soon as they turn 18.
no, I agree. Like let's grant they have the right to those surgeries, but I'm asking, does that make them trans?
It doesn't make them trans, no.
Getting the surgeries?
No.
What makes them trans then?
Them deciding.
So just a mental state?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not necessary for them to get surgeries. It can just be a mental state.
Sure, yeah.
Going back to like Christianity, if I say Christianity is real, there's a subjective mental state that could be right or it could be wrong, right?
Yeah.
How do we falsify the transgenderism belief? Like if I say I'm in the wrong body, I believe that. How do we falsify that?
You can't.
So we just take.
It's not for you to decide.
Well, do you believe that we should live according to reality?
What do you mean by that?
Like, should we be honest with people? And is there like a state of trueness, of truth that we should all follow? Like the sky is blue, the water's wet, we should be nice to each other, like stuff like that.
Sure.
Or do you take like I'll help you. Like, do you think there's a pragmatic take that we can all take where it's like do what works? So maybe sometimes you can lie to someone, maybe sometimes you can do something that is immoral to advance a greater good.
I think the world is a lot more gray than you're trying to explain it.
No, I agree. There's a lot of nuances, but there's also an important thing of truth itself, right? So like
You want the idea of transgenderism to be a nuance.
I don't want the transgenderism to be nuanced.
Yeah, why not?
Because that's a good question. That's changing the entire category of your essence. So remember how we agree there's only two gamete types? There's male and female? Yeah. We're changing. We're not just like going to get like a BBL or like a...
But I also disagree that there's only two genders.
No, we agreed. Oh,
no.
Wait, on sex or gender?
There are two sexes, but there are not two genders.
Well, if we agreed that sex is the reference point for gender, right?
Sure.
Necessarily, this means that if there's two sexes, there's only two genders.
Not really. It's a reference point, therefore it can change.
No, it can't change.
Called it a reference point.
A reference point, yeah. Do you know what a sense and a reference is?
How do you describe it?
So a sense and a reference, when talking about language, when talking about words itself, words can be arbitrarily defined. There's always a reference point. So like, let's look at the word woman. Woman means an adult human female. That is the reference point, and it can never change, because if it were to change, then anybody could arbitrarily, like, let's say in the Bible says male and female. If we were to change the definitions of that whenever, subjectively, arbitrarily, and then you and me are having a conversation 2,000 years later about man and woman, we don't know what it actually means because we changed the entire meaning. Or even with murder. If it meant a whole different thing, we can't actually get to the bottom of what was meant meant to be.
I suppose.
So that's what I mean by a sense is something that changes. A sense can change. So that can change cross-culturally, historically, statistically. Women, the word woman, the sense of that would be like they wear a dress, or they are more feminine, or they exhibit certain traits. That's the sense. But the referent point itself, that's why we agreed on the referent, that can't change.
I think gender can change from the sex, though.
We'll agree. Anyone can make up a random gender. Like any gender, right?
Sure.
In their head. But how is that different from me saying that Sasquatch is real?
Crying about capitalism now.
Sasquatch, in a sense, does exist, right? As a concept.
Sure.
Right. But does it exist in existence?
I don't know.
We don't have any evidence of it?
We don't have any evidence of God.
Yeah, but
But it's still a belief, in the same way that transgenderism is a belief, as you're trying to connect the idea of religion and transgenderism. So therefore, why is the belief of God, when we have no tangible evidence of it, why cannot logic not be put onto transgenderism?
yeah, so you just said tangible evidence. When we're talking about God, the Christian God specifically, we're making a metaphysical claim about truth. So we're saying this is true, and it's a metaphysical position. I don't believe in only that which we can see. Like you have a mind, right? You have maybe. Do you believe in a soul?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe we have a soul, of course, and that's the foundation of what creates us. We can't see those things. We can't test them. You can test the effects in the lab. You can test like these signals or these chemicals go up, but you can't actually see the mind. So I'm not a physicalist. I don't believe that God has to be reduced to physicalism, right? With transgenderism, it is reduced to physicalism.
Why?
Because it's just a mental state, but it still has to comport with reality, with physical reality. They're not making a metaphysical claim about truth. You've kind of admitted it. It's like when people say they're trans, they're trying to change their traits and there's only two, male and female. They're
Change their traits. They just kind of want to change the way that people perceive them.
okay, like this is a table, right? And it's got, let's say, 4 legs. Okay, if I put like the Donald Trump thing, like if I put a unicorn's thing on here, right? Does that make it a unicorn?
No.
No. Okay, and if I put like a tree branch on you, does that make you a tree?
No.
No, because we all have an essence. We all have a state of being. We all have specific categories that we fall in line with. So you can't change an essence. Just because you're trans, right? Even if it's a mental state, but it doesn't comport with physical reality, it can be true. And also, just because you change the physical properties doesn't make you that thing.
When you're at that point, you could argue whenever somebody's transgender, yes, they cannot change the gametes and the sex that they have, but they're not trying to change that. They're trying to change the way that they're socially perceived.
Yeah, no, I know. They're trying to change the social perception. That's a perception, but that doesn't change their essence.
Well, what do you mean by their essence?
We're all rational human beings with a soul, a rational soul, okay? So that's what makes, and I believe in that because you're agnostic, but you believe in the soul. And the soul is the living principle of the other material forms that manifest in us. So like our legs, our body, the way we can reproduce with man and woman, those are all able to happen in such a structure and order because of the soul. The soul gives life to the living things. Okay, so the soul is the start of us, right? Unless you were to take a position that we're all randomly created, like everything just randomly is designed so perfectly, it's not a tenable position. So the Aristotelian view would be the soul is the foundation, and that's how you know the essence. The essence, I don't want to get too philosophical, but it's like there's like a active potential, which is like something that can bring about change. That's the male sperm, right? There's only sperm. And then there's a passive potential, which is able to receive change. That's the ova. They're able to receive change and create life. So when we know that there's only 2 gamete types, so you see, I'm having a mental state, but I'm trying to comport it to reality. I'm not just arbitrarily making this up. When we see the structure of it and the purpose of it, we know that there is a soul, and we know that is our foundation, and you can't change womanhood or manhood. You can't change that. You can change physical properties, which are called accidental properties, but you can't change your essence.
Jaywalks, fucking deport them.
I just don't think we're seeing eye to eye.
I think you're really close.
Transgenderism is just it's more social impact rather than they're not trying to say they're literally a male or they're literally a female now, but they're trying to. I think it's just they're not trying to change their essence. They're just trying to change the way that they're being socially perceived.
They are trying to change their essence in a way, and I can tell you. But how's it going, sir? You have Christian parents, I assume?
No, they're not Christian anymore.
Okay. No, not anymore. Are they more liberal now, like you?
No, they're very conservative.
Okay, just not Christian? Oh, so what? Okay. You just seem very respectful, and we started off like on a different foot, but you seem very open-minded, and I think you're giving more into the cultural pressure that we live in now, like the times, instead of like a logical position.
I mean, like I said, my parents are very Republican, they're very conservative, so I'm used to debating them.
Okay.
So I'm very used to the conservative mindset, and I had that mindset for most of my life, as most children do. But I eventually grew out of it as I kind of did more research into everything.
Yeah. Okay. But research, like if I were to try to debate you on puberty blockers, their effects, the way they work, would you be able to debate me on that?
No, I don't know much about, which is why I was hesitant about even debating, because I don't know much about the transitioning process because I'm not transgender. But I think it's just disrespectful to just argue against them so harshly.
Okay. Yeah, well, because I wouldn't want to put, like, if you don't know about a specific subject, the reason I brought that up though is because I study the subject a lot, so I've done my due diligence. Even if puberty blockers were like safe and effective, obviously I wouldn't accept them just from like the essence and everything that I believe in, and I could say that science might be flawed or they might have a bias, which they do, but I would still be more open and receptive to the idea that I could be wrong. But I do thank you for the conversation. I really respect you for coming up. Would you like to give a message to anyone?
I guess just be nice. You don't have to go out of your way to debate college students over this idea. As long as you're being respectful, like just live your life. What are transgender people actually doing to you? They're not doing anything. And I guess, I had conservative parents, and I've grown up and I've become very liberal. And your children aren't going to follow your path, and don't automatically disrespect somebody that doesn't follow your path or your own line of belief. It's just kind of weird.
Thank you, Chase. It was nice meeting you. God bless. Yes.